Hello, everyone. Yay. Welcome to the live season finale of One Up Big Brother Season 1. By the end of the night, we will have our very first winner of the series. And someone is going to be walking away with a fat wad of $100. Additionally, stay seated because we got a lot going on tonight. We're going to do our entire award ceremony. I'll give you your first look at Season 2 of One Up Big Brother, which is premiering on July 11th. And then we will host a little reunion in the viewing party right after. So that should be spicy. Before I do this, to those of you who don't know, who weren't around many, many moons ago, I always do a little live pre-show to kind of recap the season, give my own personal thoughts now that it's over, and kind of send a good note, give my own thoughts, because there's nothing more left for me in this season. I don't have to be professional. Well, I still do have to be professional, but neither here nor there. I have said this many, many times before, and I said it like the first day that this season happened, and I mean it even to this day. I didn't know how this was going to go. I didn't know if I still had what it takes or like the passion to do this still. It'd been over 3 years since I had last really hosted, and for me to even like wobble my way over to do this again was literally just a very impulsive crash out decision on my end, which ended up being a good decision on my end because I got to see all of you and just reignite my passion for all of this. I will say, in all of the seasons that I've hosted, now that I can kind of take a step back from, as you're witnessing a season, there's a lot of things that obviously, oh my God, let's bring Mario in. Hold on.
Period.
Hey. Like I was saying, but there's a lot of things that, like, I think as I'm watching a season, I'm like, I would do that differently. Like, what is this cast doing, and what's going on here? And like, I'm like, you're shaking your head, and you're like, oh my God, what the hell? And I think now that I am sending this season off, I can sit back and say this is probably one of my favorite seasons that I've ever hosted. Having watched everything that happened, and this is just beyond the gameplay, I think the personalities and the people that were within the season are what made the season. And I think that is just one of the most amazing things ever. I mean, I would bring back anybody from this season, truth be told. I think the personalities in this is what really made it shine. Was it like the best gameplay season that I've ever hosted? Probably not. But I will say it's very akin to what I had within Big Brother Blue Moon back in the day, where it was like such a stacked cast of great players that I would be happy to host anytime. And I really, really, I mean that. I think you go back to James, who was evicted first, still stayed active, and like to me was going to do really well. Like I thought he had so much promise, and then was booted first. We had Cupid, who was evicted second. And then somehow her freaking impact on that game for the very short time that she was here lasted until the deep, deep ends. So that is crazy. I'm saying, like, no matter who you are, like, no matter what pre-juror, I mean, we still have people talking about Slade and Gianna, and like, it was crazy. I mean, I think that's what happens when it is such a condensed season, but it doesn't matter what placement you get. You were going to be talked about, and you were going to be kind of like this notable figure because you made your impact. And I think that's why this cast really was like so iconic for me. I will say, I think I experienced probably one of the best strategists I've ever hosted in my life. And I've hosted a lot. I could go tell you like the names of all these people that I've seen their games firsthand. I think I've seen some of the best social plays. I mean, this is the first time I've hosted where we had a completely dominant alliance from like the very beginning to the very end in the pretty committee. I've never seen that happen before in like all of the seasons that I've been in / hosted. Like, it is such a rare occurrence. So for that to happen in itself, incredible. That takes a lot of maneuverability and a lot of, I mean, obviously competition ones play a part, but like in the times that they didn't have power, they still were able to kind of weasel their way through every step of the way. That's phenomenal. It's the first season that I have hosted where there was a showmance, which was new for me. I didn't know how as a production member I was. See exactly, Mario. So that was always wild for me. I'm used to like my little like fake showmances. I'm used to the flirting. Trust and believe I'm a flirt mance kind of person when I was single. But like a true on showmance that blossomed through like this game, crazy. Never thought I'd see that day. But yeah, I mean, this has been phenomenal. I'm so excited to see where the series goes from here. I will say, like, in production is very on. Like, it's going to be hard to top this. You know, in terms of like next season's cast has got a lot to live up to. Because this was just really, really stellar all the way around. Like awards, picking awards. I was even production doesn't know. I was dabbling with awards last second because I still was having like chaos in the mind. So you'll probably be surprised by my picks as well. But without further ado, I think there's not much more I really want to talk about. I'll leave it to my production to say what they want to say.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Here it is, the favorite production member of everyone, everyone being here, period. Period. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I just want to talk about like this is my first season that I've hosted or being part of production. So it was pretty fun to me, and I want to thank Nathan first of all for letting me like be part of this cast of production. And I just want to say like that this cast in general is one of the best I've ever seen like in my whole time playing orcs, because as Nathan said, every single member like left their mark, even James, even Cupid, Gianna, Slade, Emily, because we all love Emily, and having her like join the BC while in the hot tub, like we love it. um I just want to say thank you all for applying and thank you all for playing this game. I think, like, of course, this game would have been nothing without you guys. So, like, it's the first thing I want to say, like, thank you for applying and putting your whole effort. Because I've been in past orgs where people like really don't care about this org, and really this time around you all guys, oh my god, Aquila as well. Aquila, we love her here, like we miss her so much. I hope she's doing well. I mean, there are people that don't even care, and you all guys cared every single second, every single day of this game, and that impressed me so much. Because in most games, like, people are inactive. Well, we had a one bitch over there, we had a one, yeah, but I mean, at the end, he still showed up. He still showed up yesterday and made an iconic appearance. So I just want to say thank you all, and I'm gonna let Panino speak if he wants. So
I probably just gonna echo both what Nathan and Mario said. Y'all, this did not feel like an orc to me. To me, it felt like I was literally watching a season of US Big Brother, which for us non-Americans, it's like our fuel, because our national seasons of Big Brother are not great. So already watching this, it already felt like I was watching 18 people. If you ask me, what did this person do? What did this person do? I can give you something specific. Y'all gave us a game to look forward to. Y'all gave us a lot to talk about. There were things that we were saying, that we were predicting would happen back in week 3. Nathan knows they didn't. And it's already so funny. We're gonna have a chance to talk about it later, because I think Nathan's laughing like me thinking about what we were saying. But
I don't even remember. I'm trying to pick up the pieces of what we're talking about.
I will let you know at the end.
Okay.
But at the moment, you will know, because we were saying something week 3 and it did not happen. Something else happened completely. As someone who was a first boot back in Nathan's first Big Brother Universe season, I know what the power of legacy can have, because people still talked about me. I was still talked about both in Big Bang and in following seasons. If you got out, especially I want to shout out James and Cupid, first 2 boots, y'all were talked about. And that's already the important thing. The important thing for me is when I'm playing, which I don't do anymore, I don't want to win. I want to leave my legacy. I want to leave my impact in the season so that when we're getting to the finale, people are still saying this person who was evicted first had an impact on my game. So y'all did amazing. Thank you so much for applying, and thank you so much for making this entertaining for you, for the viewers, and for us three as well. We had so many laughs.
Oh, yeah. And then I want to just ping pong off of Mario for 1 second before we get this rolling. You know, going into the season, you know, I had kind of hand selected a few people who knew and who have played Big Brother Universe or Legacy Big Brother when that was a single season. People that I knew how I hosted and would believe in kind of what I was doing with this. So I got like a good chunk of them, you know, but we had so many people who had never been hosted by me, who had never experienced what I put on as like a show or a game. They applied with blind trust, thinking, you know, and hoping that this would be time. And I hope the biggest takeaway for that is that I really do hope you had a good time, and I hope, you know, the experience that you had within this season is everlasting. You know, I thank you so much for applying, and I thank you for playing. Thank you for playing. You know, this has been phenomenal. But without further ado, it is time to crown a winner. So meet me back in 30 seconds, and we will say hello to our finalists. Adios. Hello, welcome back. Glad you're still here. Glad you're still stationed. Hello.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, my finalists. How are we feeling?
So good. Cupid mentioned 9/11.
What?
You know what? Period, girl.
Here, I want to see all of your pretty faces in bigger detail. Hello. Here, look at all of us. We've got beautiful final two. How are we feeling though? Like, give us your thoughts. You know, the season's almost over. What are we thinking? You know, you're not appeasing a jury anymore. Speak how you want.
Well, Soul is going to be muted, so I will talk first. I had so much fun. I think the season was so great. Even with the people that I necessarily didn't always have the best relationships with and everything, I have such like a deep care for everybody, which I literally never have. Like, it is so hard for me to get to a point where I feel like I can open up to people like I have. I feel no matter what happens here, I think that this is probably my favorite work that I've played. I think that it's so well hosted. I think that the cast, no matter what happened, like every single cycle, it was always so interesting. It was always so exciting to come out of the server every morning and talk to people. And I just say thank you.
I don't know if Soul can speak. What a flop. Boo. Okay, well, are we ready to crown a winner?
I'm scared.
All right. The moment is now. It's time to crown our very first winner of One Up Big Brother.
Good luck, Soul.
Our first juror, actually, make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah. The first person up for tonight was our last juror, Bree. Bree has voted for Soul to become the first winner of One Up Big Brother. Following Bree, we have juror number 8, Stevie. Stevie has voted for Zach to be the winner of One Up Big Brother. After Stevie, we have Will. I have to remember this in order now. Will has decided to vote for Zach to be the winner of One Up Big Brother.
Oh my goodness.
Following Will, we have Kevin. Kevin made his vote very clear last night, but should be no surprise. He's voted for Zach to win One Up Big Brother. The vote is now 3 votes for Zach, 1 vote for Soul. Before Kevin, we had, was it Nas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was not.
Nas has decided to vote for Zach to win One Up Big Brother. That is now 4 votes for Zach, 1 vote for Soul. Before Nas, we have Alejandro. Alejandro has voted for Soul to win One Up Big Brother. Before Soul came Ava. Ava was juror number 3, and she has voted for Zach, which means congratulations, Zach. You are the very first winner of One Up Big Brother.
Oh, why am I tearing? Oh my god, it's just an org. Let me calm down. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. This is my first win. I really appreciate you guys having faith in me, and I hope that I do you guys proud in representing the season. Just thank you so much.
Now, my queen.
Oh my god, wait. My room is dirty, so I can't. But just know that in my mind, I am.
All right. Seriously, congratulations, both of you. A freaking amazing final 2. This literally has gone down to either one of you. I would have been so proud of either of you being the winner of this season. You were both phenomenal. Great jury Q&A from you. You know, the jury roundtable was great. Very active jury. Really, you really should be so proud. Zach, I'm happy to have you represent the first season of this series. You are going to hold a legacy unlike any other.
I don't know why I'm crying. It's embarrassing.
Well, I would cry too if I was getting
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Oh.
congratulations to you both. Oh my god, it's like Kiana Grande and Soliana Grande. We
Oh, I don't want to fuck up my
Think
makeup.
the season
my
in the
goodness.
best way and genuinely feel proud of your game, whether you won, whether you lost, you two, but also everyone else, but especially you two because you're sitting here with us. Y'all did amazing.
Yeah, congratulations to you both. You both deserve to be here, and you need to be so proud, as Penina said. I mean, congratulations, Zach, for winning the first season.
Thank
and
you.
Soul for being like a very incredible first runner-up. So you all need to be proud of yourselves because the game you played was outstanding, and that made you come all the way through here. So congratulations, Zach, and congratulations, Soul. Period.
Oh my
All
god.
right.
Not the jury advantages. Sorry, I'm
Well,
I feel so awkward. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
that's fine. Take it all in. But we do have probably the most exciting parts of any season ending. We are moving right along. Maybe. Oh, wait. Ali and Alejandro both voted for Zach as well. So that is 7-2. Zach.
Elijah.
What did I say?
Alejandro.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Everyone
That's
clap for the greatest hosting ever from Nathan. Obviously,
Oh.
I'm joking. Nathan genuinely did an amazing job. I'm just so happy to see him host. To give him a moment to revel in his moment because Nathan genuinely did amazing. I was so happy to host with him. I'm pretty sure Mario shares the same sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like almost more than 3 years since Nathan hosted an org. And I played in that org, like the last one that Nathan hosted, and to seeing like he actually call it quits at once, and to actually see him come back and actually making it work, and with our help and like Panino and myself, like it's such an honor because at the time, like 2020, 2019, 2021, Nathan maybe was like one of the most representative people out there in our community, like when it came to hosting. I mean, he had one of the best orgs ever, like that existed at Big Brother universe, where I had the chance to play as well. Big Brother Galaxy season 6, of course, representing third place, period. And I mean, it's such an honor, and I'm so happy to be here and see Nathan hosting again because I know this is something he loves so much to do. So
Very
we need to give a round of applause to Nathan and to all the production members and to all the cast, but especially Nathan because he was the one that made this work like the most.
I appreciate it. And thank you, genuinely, both of you as production. I think we've come such a long way. You know, I met Panino when he was 14 years old, I want to say. Mario when he was also maybe 15. So like
I was
you know,
13.
13. Jesus. That's crazy. You know, and I think, you know, it's just a testament to see like how far things have come since we first met. You know, I remember both of you playing within my series, and I remember like Panino, you played within Big Bang, and I saw there was so much potential there. And like as being someone who's been in the community since 2013, I was like, I want to take you under my. I mean, I was never a great player by any means, but I'd seen enough where I'm like, I know what could make a great player. Same goes to Mario, where it's kind of like I saw you play. I'm like, I deemed them my org babies, and now I have my children who are pretty much right alongside me. So that's crazy. So thank you. You guys did fantastic. Really, really proud of both of you. I mean, Panino, you are hosting one of the biggest orgs on Discord right now. How does that happen? You know, Mario, you're still Mario, so good for you. Glad to see you've never changed. Don't ever change that spark of yours. Okay, I'm going to stop edging you all. It's time for the awards. We have a lot of awards to give out. This might take a bit, so I apologize. But it's exciting, and you never know who's going to win what. But our very first award of the night, the NPC of the season, the non-playable character. Low impact, low threat. They're just kind of, well, they were there this season, and that is what really matters. Our first award of the night, the NPC of the season, it's going to Stevie. Stevie, I mean, I love the guy. I mean, he had so much promise going into like his whole interview, and he didn't even play a bad game. I think that's just again a testament to how very like good this season was. Like there wasn't anyone who was like completely inactive, but this one was a pretty clear-cut award, I would say. So, yay, Stevie. Why is everyone so quiet now? I hate.
Sorry. Oh my God. You should get the people in here.
Oh no! I mean, how do I do that?
Speech.
No, save it. Okay, our next award. The Arcade Wild Card. Unpredictable energy, chaotic moves, and wild strategy swings. I knew exactly what I was signing up for when I put this house guest on this season. And what they delivered was nothing less of what I was anticipating. This house guest is known to be all over the place, rambunctious, chaotic, you name it. They were never going to do what you expected them to do. And that's why it is just always like a fun time. And this has to go to Alejandro.
Oh.
Nas? Now, Alejandro, I mean, this man, he dances to the beat of his own drum. There's nothing that could possibly sway him in anything that he does in this game. If there's anyone that you could count on in this game, never do him because he will do the complete opposite of what you want. Will he vote for you to stay? Probably not. He'll go with the minor. He was just I love Alejandro. I mean, what a fun character.
I will say that in a game where you have the possibility to make your votes public, to then also then get like a more points, and I think almost every time going against the tide and voting in the minority, that takes a lot. I don't want to say balls. I'm gonna say that takes a lot of courage. And it genuinely was like, that is a player, and that's already like another spice added to this amazing brew that is this season. So already that just made me respect Alejandro's game a lot, and it was very,
Yeah.
very risky. I'm so happy you made it where you did end up.
It was so funny seeing him because after like the votes, we asked him, why did you vote this way? And he was like, because I know everyone was gonna vote the other person, so I wanted to vote like with the minority. I wanted to be that one vote, and I was like, okay.
Congrats, Alejandro. Our next award, our hidden Easter egg. Underrated, low key, but surprisingly impactful. I think this is a house guest who I think entering the season, I didn't know really what to expect. I had a lot of high hopes, but I think their presence in the game was very, very appreciated. I think they were actually, I think, could have gotten a lot more credit for the things that they were doing behind the scenes. Very strong game, and had it not been for a kind of unfortunate outcome, I could have seen them taking it to the deep, deep ends of this game. Our hidden as Easter egg of the season is Ava.
Oh,
Yay.
sorry, I was muted.
Oh, you're fine. You can be on mute. I really don't care. Guess who who you think they
I'm
are.
having fun guessing who it is.
Yes. So yeah, Ava. I think Ava played a phenomenal game. I think had it not been for Zach and Ava being final nominees, where obviously there was a lot of powers in play that season to kind of flip the tides and keep Zach, Ava could have made a deep run alongside the Pretty Committee, probably as a fourth. Definitely as a fourth, but still making it deep in the game. And I think she would have had enough kind of strategic ability to maybe even make a strike against them at some point. But I think really, really solid game from her, and I think she deserves some credit here. Stand-up comedian, the funniest player in the house, whether intentionally or not. You know, we had a lot of good personalities this season, a bunch of funny people. I'm going based off the house guests that made me personally laugh the most. Biggest one-liners, biggest kind of gags of the season. And this one is our very first tie, because this was so hard. It was like, you know, picking. I couldn't decide. Our stand-up comedian is Zach and Slade.
Oh, thank you.
Zach, I think you probably had some of the best one-liners of this season. I think, you know, you were just your presence. I think it's just kind of that personality that you have where it's like everything that you say is almost funny, and it goes for Slade too. Slade is like the complete opposite of humors. I think Zach, you just have like this very like easygoing humor, while like Slade has my kind of humor, which is very dry. You don't know what you joke, you don't really, but it comes off like I don't know how to explain it, but to me, like both of the funniest players that we had this season. So congrats, bro. My little comedy queens. Next up, we have the DR star. Always deliver the best sound bites, activity, or comedy in their DR. I will say we had probably two of the best DRs I've had this season ever. Two very different types of DRs, and that's why this one is also a tie. I had one player who was sounding off, doing video DRs, letting the viewing party know all their thoughts, their feelings, everything was like on display. And then I had a house guest DR, which was so unbelievably precise and so detailed, where giving this award not to this house guest would be a utter shame. I'd never seen someone take an extra step to that degree to really just layer their thoughts. And their social awareness was forever like iconic. You know, from week one on, I knew there was a lot of potential with this player. So our DR stars are Gianna and Sol. So congrats you both. Very, very solid DRs. Very, very proud of you both. I was both like so engaged with both of you. Yay. Our comp champ, stacked wins like it was a speed run challenge. This is just purely statistical, and it was actually super close. I believe one house guest had 9, the other had 8. So Sol, congratulations. You are our comp champ this season. Yay. Congrats. Social wizard. Built bonds with everyone and used them masterfully. This house guest, I think, was probably socially the best player I've ever seen, ever. I think their ability to make social connections and use them and really go beyond just like a social game, but take that social game into just pure strategy was something I've never seen it done before. I've seen it like maybe once or twice, but to the degree that this house guest went on, Hell have no fury. Soul, genuinely one of the best social games I've seen. I mean, we talk pre-jury. That was utter complete dominance on your end. Like that, I've never seen anything quite like it. So seriously, congrats.
I will say, Soul, to me, you are what I strive to be as a player, and you pulled it off masterfully because it's genuinely a social game that worked amazingly, also mixed in with the other two, well, strategic and physical. Genuinely, both of you, I will have to say, I have never seen this good a balance of your social, your strategic, and your physical. Adding that physical factor in there is already so hard to keep in check. And the fact that you are the two sitting here, considering how many comp wins you have, consider there's only 2 cycles in which neither of you won at least one comp. Only 2, cycle 1 and cycle 7.
Is that true?
That is true. Only
Oh my
cycle
God.
1 and cycle 7 are cycles in which neither of you won HOH or POV. Y'all genuinely blew me away, but Soul, your social game already from the start was on point.
Amazing.
Okay, our next award is Stealth Player. They played in the shadows and still made it deep. I think this player had actually a lot more sway than maybe even given credit for. I think they were never the biggest target, never like the immediate threat. I think no matter what they did, they were always making it to the end of this game. I think they were stealthy, they were smart, they were strategic, charismatic. They were the full package, and somehow never were able to create kind of this threat on them. I just think with all these other competition wins from other players, like they were able to hide and use their strategy to really benefit them even more. That's going to Bree.
I know that's right.
The silent assassin of the pretty committee. Truly, like I genuinely, like if Bree were in the final 2, I think she had a great shot against either of you. No offense.
No, absolutely.
I think, she had like the perfect balance of everything. She was very smart, very good with how she was with other house guests. Her social game was always very great, but never made a threat. I think with other people in the game, she was always able to lay low and keep her position pretty intact. So congrats, Bree. Stealthy little player you are.
Oh my goodness. Good for her.
Okay. Our next award is our Jury Whisperer. They didn't just vote, they guided the whole jury to the decision. This award is given to those who participate in their jury roundtable. We had quite a few jurors join, but I think there was one juror whose opinions and thoughts really were able to sway. This house guest, I feel like, doesn't need to even guess who it is. They were really kind of driving that roundtable. So congratulations, Will. Our little
Thank
jury.
you, Will.
Congrats. The Respawn Master. They got knocked down over and over and kept getting back up. This is the house guest that had 1,000 lives, and there should be no genuine way they made it as far in this game as they did. But somehow, some way, they were able to always slip through the cracks, find some sort of niche, find somewhere that made it work. To have them go this far in this game was ridiculous to me. A cat with 1,000 lives. It's Kevin, our Respawn Master.
He kind of ate.
From like being a week 1 nominee to getting all the way to final 6 and have his threat level pretty much be intact the entire time. He was never good at comps, mind you. No offense, Kevin. But somehow he was able to slip through every single time. So, props.
Like if
Kevin,
this were a real season, I would be a Kevin stan.
Kevin, I think that if we can place you in most scenarios of what happened, like most of the time it's like, oh, this happened. And then there's Kevin, who's still here with that high of a threat level, who should have left God knows when. But now that Kevin is still here, I'm rooting for him to go as far as he possibly can, because what kind of witchcraft?
For real. So, good job, Kevin. Next up, our master strategist. Always pulled the strings, planned 3 moves ahead, and made the game theirs. I've talked highly about this house guest several times. I think they are just a perfect package of everything. Strategy is one thing. It's probably one of the most important aspects of this game, and I think this house guest just had it on lock. Their strategy, phenomenal. Though I think I will say dwindled towards the end. I can't deny, but I still think their ability to get final two, and I think the strategy they did within that first chunk of the game was enough to carry it. I'm sorry, but Seoul, like, even like he was self-aware even to know that the strategy that he was doing was not to win at that point, but it was to get the pretty committee to the end. He knew what he was doing in that process. But had he really played to go, I think Seoul, I mean, just truly remarkable strategy on his end. So congrats, Seoul. Another award for you. The heart of the house, the emotional glue that bonded the cast together. I think there would be no season without this house guest. The dynamics of the house, the fun nature of the house, the passion, the drive, the motivation, everything that kind of encompasses what made the game what it is would not be had it not been for Zach. So the absolute heart of the season. I can't imagine this season without you playing. It actually gives me kind of like tremors. You were from all productions, so fascinating to watch, so funny, so just entertaining. You know, outside of like maybe a beef and a stint with Kevin, like, but you truly were. You kept reins in, and it was just so much fun to watch. So
Thank you. My goodness.
Up next, the biggest blindside. We're moving on to some of the game. So the most shocking eviction no one saw coming. This is an eviction I didn't even see coming until like pretty much the last second. I didn't know how this was going to get maneuvered, how this was going to get pulled off, but somehow it did. So I was gagged. I'm sure that house guest who got evicted was gagged as they left that call immediately once it happened. The biggest blindside of the season was Emily's eviction. I think there were so many things that had to be really pulled off to allow that to happen and to have Elijah stay, granted one cycle longer. But I really feel like it was the closest vote of the season. And hey, I was gagged. So womp womp. Next one, fatal error, made the move that instantly destroyed their own game. This one was hard because, you know, there was a lot of kind of chummy decisions made by several people where I don't think it really benefited them in any sort of way. But I think this house guest had the opportunity for power to get a little bit of control and sway back. And I think this is what really, it was the HOH that really could have turned the tides of the game. But I think this house guest reads on the game were actually really, really bad and kind of sad. I think they were kind of playing along to the beat of someone else's strings. But this was Ali's HOH reign where Elijah went home. I think, you know, had it been, I think Ali's kind of belief that Elijah was this big bad wolf in the game was horribly misread. I mean, granted, I mean, I understand the fact that Elijah had all these XP, but so did Nas. And I think he was kind of looking really kind of rose-colored lenses there. And I think had Ali done something differently, this could have been a much differently because he got evicted the following cycle. So boo, Ali. Everyone say boo in the chat.
I have to say that the triple was just a day. It was a triple with so much action. All three evictions, especially coming in from that week itself, it was like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah.
It left us scooped, it left us gagged, and it really told us this is a game that is generally very dynamic and anything can happen at any point.
Yeah, I think the triple eviction was one of the hardest, if not the hardest day to host.
You know,
Be there because I messed up.
We're aware. We are
I
aware.
remember.
We remember. Oh my god! And actually, I was feeling so sick at that time I kept messing up so much because I was like having fever like 100 100 degrees fever. I was like, oh my god. But I made it through, and I think it was one of the best nights as well. It was so funny, it was so chaotic, and seeing Ali go like that, it was like, oh, you could have just not do anything and you would have been safe. But claps for Ali. Claps, claps, claps.
All right, next award. The power duo, the two who control the house like a co-op campaign. I feel like this is a pretty self-explanatory. This two made it all the way to Final Three together. They were in a showmance together. They ran this thing. It is Brie and Soul. What a power duo, you know? It's one thing to just like, I mean, being in a showmance obviously puts you at an advantage, but to keep it number one a secret from Zach, mind you, who was also part of the Pretty Committee, and still make it all the way to the end. It was a perfect amount of, you know, great strategy by like you kept your personal feelings together and kept the strategy outside of it intact. Still made it all the way to the end. Very good use of what a showmance should be. Congrats, both of you. My little power duo.
A power duo, a power couple, we could say at this point. Genuinely, I've never seen a showmance go this much into an org and work this well. Usually when I see showmances, people are like, this is an org, leave. Y'all kept it under wraps very well. Y'all, it genuinely blows my mind how a showmance worked this well, which genuinely tells me that the level of the season is so high. So congrats to you both. Y'all pulled this off amazing.
Next up, the best boss fight, the head-to-head rivalry that left the house shook. This was actually pretty difficult. There's a few that I could kind of pinpoint as being rivals, but I think one of the most memorable and almost kind of dirty was of these two house guests. It got pretty like, you know, it was one thing in the arcade, it was another thing in a one-on-ones, it's another thing within VCs, but this prolonged. And I think this kind of lovers to enemies trope that these two had was devastating to watch. And it got, maybe it didn't get personal, maybe it kind of did. But it got pretty brutal. So it's got to go to Kevin and Soul. Mm-hmm. And it was made clear on the live jury Q&A as well why, you know, this was such like a darted little rivalry that we had. So, fun for me to watch though, I guess, you know, get the ratings up. Up next, this is it. These are the awards that we are waiting for. This is like an award. If you get this award, holy shit, congrats. You are so worthy. These are the core legacy awards. These are the creme de la creme, what makes, you know, the awards that you probably really want and are pining for. Hold on.
Take us with you.
Oh my God, someone's at the door. I love like how it was pretty much the.
Is it your boyfriend?
Thing.
It is. He's here.
Oh my God! Hi.
Fan favorite.
Yay! Period. Period. Hey! Oh my God!
All right. Anyways, where's my little Kyra
season?
Gag over that. I love that shirt on you. Okay. The core awards. See, now I'm nervous. Fun fact, you know, when the season first started, we were on our second date, and now he's here watching the finale. How crazy. Okay. The Ultimate Alliance, the most dominant group who dictated how the story ended. I don't even have to say much. I've never seen an alliance dominate to this degree. I've never seen an alliance just take control over the game. There was very seldomly any other alliances that even came close. I feel like everyone else was kind of fractured. The best I could do, I couldn't name one. I'm sorry. It's the Pretty Committee. Brie, Soul, the best alliance. Probably the best alliance that I've ever hosted. Probably the best. So, congrats, Pretty Committee.
Fully, it was just the fact that like I think that the three of us got along so well on a personal level that it was like I don't think that we wanted to be in Final Three with anybody else. I think it just got to a point where we were such good friends that I don't think I wouldn't want to take anybody else personally. So
I will say that hearing you guys interact and talk in VC in the one-on-one server, looking over all the chats, all the one-on-ones, it was like these have a loyalty to each other, but also just they work together so well in respect to other people's, like, yeah, sure, other people are in an alliance, but I'm seeing a little debacle there, a little fight there. In the meanwhile, you three standing strong, bulldozing through the season. It generally was like, okay, if I will be very surprised if they don't get to the end. It was still surprising to see you get to the end, but that was just for how well you work together and for the loyalty for of all you three to the Pretty Committee. Literally, this season needs a pink bow on it right now because the pink bow is literally what defined this season.
Snaps for the
you guys
Pretty
are so
Committee.
sweet.
Yeah. Never going to be able to beat that. Truly, I don't think so.
I'm
Up
very,
next.
very, very grateful to have met Sol and Bree.
Up next, our most Rob Preager. This might come to a surprise for some of the production, but I did change this one. Deserved to go so much,
Emily!
but got sniped early. This was difficult for me to not bring in a little bit of bias, but I will. I've hosted this house guest before. I went into the season kind of figuring I knew what I expected from this house guest and what they could provide. But I loved who they were as a person. However, I will say to their benefit, this was the best showing that I'd ever seen from this house guest. And I think, they went into this game with a lot more strategy, a lot more dedication, which I always expect. And, I'm glad I wasn't there for this eviction because I probably would have been crying too. But it had to go to Gianna. Gianna's someone who's always done very fantastically within all of my games. They're a very strong presence, a big personality, kind of what I would consider pretty much the heart of the house, and plays with her heart. And I think, it was unfortunate to lose her so soon this time because I do think she was on a very upward trajectory in terms of how she's evolved since the last time I've seen her play many, many years ago. So for me, she was probably the most robbed because I think she really did have so much more to show in her arsenal of how she's grown as a player. But sorry, Gianna, you were robbed. My robbed queen.
When you're hosting Gianna, I think for me it's just always you don't know what's gonna happen next. And it's so exciting because it's like, what are we gonna get from Gianna? I can't wait to see. And as much as I'm very sad that Gianna got eliminated so early, I'm still so grateful that we got to see Gianna, how we always see Gianna at the top of the game.
Gianna, I've played with her 2 times before, and this is the first time I've hosted her, so it's pretty much my 3rd time seeing her play. And every single time it's a different thing, but it's Gianna, how Gianna is. And this time around, it was more like I could see the whole panorama of what was going on with her and see how was she thinking. And I was like, oh my God. And when she got evicted and she was crying, I was like, oh my God. I could not, it was so hard for us, but we love her, Gianna.
Can I say something from a player point of view?
Yeah.
I think that was literally, I think it can be said for Ava too. Gianna was put in literally the one scenario where she went home. And it was so unfortunate because me personally, I don't know about Sol and Bree necessarily, but I would not have voted for Gianna against literally anybody but Emily. So it was so bad that she was put up against Emily, who I feel was in such a similar social position where everybody loved them because they're so sweet. They were so kind to everybody. So being next to Emily right after I nominated her too and promised I wouldn't vote for her. It sucked. I'm so sorry, Gianna.
Robbed. Up next, our most robbed juror came so close to the crown, but got clipped before the finale. I said week 2 that this house was making the final 2. I am pretty good and pretty savvy when it comes to spotting who I believe will be in the end of this game. I think, they were on the biggest trajectory to win this game. I think overall, no matter maybe anyone they were up against was winning this game. I think they just got dealt kind of that last blow due to literally a tiebreaker and that veto. Had they won that tiebreaker, I think we could have had maybe a different winner tonight. But the tides didn't work in their favor. And our most robbed juror was Will. Seriously, what a phenomenal player. I think, had the cards been maybe stacked just a little bit differently, because I think he knew exactly what he needed to do, and he did many, many cycles prior. And he was relying, and he got lucky, and then it was kind of like this last moment where things needed to go his way, and it just didn't. Fell just short. Sorry, Will, our most robbed juror. Up next, fan favorite. Give it up for fan favorite. The viewer's darling. It didn't matter how they placed. This really wasn't that close. This house guest had probably my favorite DR of the season, just in terms of all of the guests that they brought in. It's no surprise that this person had a rally of support on their side. They are just so fun. I played with them right before I was able to host them, and to be able to host and still get the same energy. I get why she's got 1,000 friends and more. Our fan favorite is Emily.
I know that's right.
Yes. I love Emily. I mean, when Emily got evicted, I was devastated because we were drinking buddies on the weekend, and we had been from obviously we went from Big Brother World into this game where we were just drinking White Claws with each other. So when she was evicted, I had no one to, number one, bully. I had no one more to drink with. I had to sober up. Rehab was an option, and it was really important to me. But I'm really proud that she got fan favorite. She really did. Her DR guests really made the season for me. They were so entertaining. I loved them all very much, and I'm glad she has such a great support system, and she brought them into this little community. So congrats, Emily. Up next, the main character. The storyline revolved around them, even when it wasn't supposed to. This is a new award that I'm bringing in this season, and I just think it's really fun. There's so many house guests that I have who, they might vie for screen time. They might, they just run kind of the narrative of the season from start to finish. This is a house guest who really, no matter what was talked about, they were active. They were always kind of driving some sort of narrative, somehow, some way. And I can't believe that this is the main character of the season is going to this person, but it has there's no other option. Our main character was freaking Cupid.
Cupid!
Cupid evicted week 2. Mind you, her impact on week 1 of this game was still in the topic of discussions in the very game. You bring up Heaven versus Soul, which was the best boss fight, the best rivalry, where the core of a lot of that was this kind of dynamic with Cupid. And, I just feel like Cupid was always mentioned, always kind of being dropped somehow, some way. Was always in the viewer call, not viewer calls, the Matrix call, playing music for whatever reason. She's in the chat tonight. She's been so active, more active within being evicted than she was in the season. But she drove the narrative this season. And it's I think that is so iconic that someone who was out so early could drive such a presence into this game. So congrats, Cupid.
I literally got into my first ever org fight over her.
Genuinely, Cupid, your game this season was what my Big Brother Universe Big Bang game could never be, because it's genuinely just that same thing of being evicted early, but having such an impact in the season that your name gets brought up at the end. You are included in the discussions. The impact that you had in the first few weeks that you had genuinely just brought this game to what it is right now. In many orgs, orgs that I've seen, pre-jurors matter nothing at the end. Every single one of y'all, but especially Cupid, counted something towards how this season panned out and how this season evolved. Genuinely, Cupid, amazing.
Yay! Congrats, Cupid. Really, seriously, such a fun little present.
Congrats, Cupid.
All right. Up next, Nathan's favorite, the house guests, Orsis, who made me scream, laugh, or cry the most. This was hard. This was hard. Because, like I said from the beginning, I feel like anyone in this cast was like phenomenal show stopping. Did pick. I think I cut it down to like 5, and I was like, okay, I gotta at least like make the call and make it 2. These 2 house guests, one I've hosted before, another I'd never hosted before, and I think both deserve some acknowledgement. I think one of them, the one who I'd hosted before, I kind of knew what I was expecting, and I got the same energy that I had missed for so long. It's one of my favorite people in this community, and they always make me laugh, always know how to like hit my right buttons. Or like me as a host, I get so over the moon. The other one I had recently played with, and I put them on the season to see what they could do, not to like bring in what I would assume to be great strategy, but to bring a good personality. And holy shit, did they impress me. Truly, like I was gobsmacked by their game this time. My favorite people this season to watch, to host, to see play this game were Kevin and Nas. I think the 2 of you were just so good, so much fun. I would love to. Nas, I've hosted you now twice. Kevin, I'd host you anytime that you'd like. Great trajectories. Me as a host who's very into kind of how the dynamics of a season play and the personalities of a season. 2 of my favorite people. Easy to host. Just really good. So congrats. My favorite 2. Sorry, not to like put anyone to shame, but I really enjoyed you 2.
I will say that I genuinely agree with Nathan because both Nas is my number 1, Kevin is my number 2 favorite. Literally, Kevin, your game from the start to the end was flabbergasted. Why are you here? Why are you not out yet? This is so confusing, but I was so invested in your gameplay. In general, like, this is amazing that Kevin is still here, and that's gonna change a lot of things. And Nas, I played with you so much time ago, and just your gameplay, and obviously the fact that you got to level 7 is a fact by itself, but the way that you got to level 7 and then had that legendary HOH was amazing, because it's like, okay, Nas is playing the game. Sure, you did mistakes, but watching you play was as great as always. It was great when I was playing alongside you, and it's even better when I'm hosting you and watching you from a production standpoint. So both of you, genuinely, I love your games, and I would want to see you back in this org or in any other org, because loved you both.
For me, I would say I love. For me, my favorite are not this ones. I would disagree, but it's my personal opinion. But for me, my favorite player since day one of like even interviews was Zach.
And who won?
Period.
So Mario's right, and we're wrong.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I think I knew. When I saw Zach's interview, I totally like had. I saw a spark. I really vibe myself with people that are like, I don't know. I see things in people, and I usually gather myself with people that are like me, or like have a spark. And I saw that spark on Zach since like the first day of his interview, and he was my pick to win like since day one, since the season started. Like I was like, Always he was my pick and he was my favorite. And I mean,
Thank you, Mario. No, genuinely, I had nobody like. I feel like I'm so new to orgs at this point. We're like pretty. I think Bree is the only person I've played with more than once. So I felt like when it came to things like DR buddies and like, I knew that like outside of the season I wasn't gonna know anybody. So I felt like Mario being so kind to me in my DR like really was what. Because for a little while I felt like I wasn't really bonding with people and everything. Like I felt like Mario was my DR buddy.
No, genuinely amazing, and the fact that you're this new to the org scene and you did this well, I was like, wow. I haven't
you.
been this good in 6 years of playing, so hats off, literally.
Thank you guys. Congrats to Knots and Kevin though. I don't want to take away from their award.
All right, we are down to our final 3 awards of the night. This is Hero of the Season, the house guest who rose above chaos and played with guts and grace. I will say there was really no heroes this season. There really wasn't. If anything, the closest I to was maybe an anti-hero. But I don't think there's anyone who, I guess, proactively played this heroic, very like good grace game and was always whatever. But I think there was one house guest for me that kind of was the closest to a hero. Again, it goes back to very underrated, very charismatic. I don't think they ever rubbed anybody the wrong way, ever. I think they were just kind of this hero hiding behind maybe some other villain's clothing. I think the biggest hero this season was Bree.
I told you, Bree, you fucking. Oh, she wanted villain so bad.
There was no way in hell she was getting villain.
Literally, I told her, I was like, girl.
No way. No, I think Bree genuinely, I think just she was the closest I could think of to a hero this season.
yeah. And I was in one time I was in a VC with y'all guys like listening, and Bree was saying, "I don't want to be hero of the season. I don't want to be the hero."
Well,
And
tough shit. Congrats, Bree, my little hero. Up next, villain of the season, the master manipulator who caused the most drama and damage. This one was a lot harder to do because I think this cast was really stacked full of villains. I think a lot of these people were very cutthroat, very villainous in the way that they acted, the way that they talked, the way that they played this game. I got it down to 3 initially, and then figuring out like who was really like the villainous one. I think there's different ways in which you could kind of describe what a villain is. And so many of these people checked off all the right boxes, but I think one house guest really was the villain, not maybe the show it in your face villain, but the behind the scenes villain, and the one that was really kind of like doing the dirty work. I think everyone else would say maybe kind of like their, I don't know what you call them. You know, how a villain has people who are kind of not sidekicks. You know what I'm talking about. I'm making sense. Anyways, the villain of the season was Soul.
Bitch.
I think Soul played dirty, like nasty dirty. And I think that's fine. I think he acknowledges it as well. Like, I think, you know, there was a certain level of like the decisions that he was making. I don't think he necessarily wanted to, but in the process of doing the things that he was doing, he was kind of building this horrible reputation for himself and making people feel gross, like in the game sense. I think we need to clear that up. You know, but like just very, very master manipulator, and just like when you're a strategist, there's a certain way, but I think Soul kind of did it with a certain villain finesse to it. So congrats, Soul.
And when you see in the best, we're gonna call it best couple, the villain of the season and the hero of the season,
What?
that already tells you that is what the hell happened in that season. For of course, we said that it was really hard to pick a hero.
But saying we run for the hills.
It's like the villain and the hero together, playing in a duo with a final 2 together. help, I am scared. Genuinely, not only in the way you played, but also in the way you just talked, in the way you interacted with people. It was never done in like in a bad way, but it was just like this guy wants to be sketchy. It's working. It's helping. It got him to final two. So genuinely amazing.
All right. And our final award for the night, the biggest award, the One Up legend, the unforgettable force who defined the season's legacy. This is probably the most important award. It's the award that I think most people go into a season. Either they want to win or they want to be known as the One Up legend or a star player or whatever it's called, player of the season. I always do this where I do a couple runner-ups and then I reveal who the winner is. For the runner-ups, I will just show you. Our runner-ups for the One Up legend were Sol and Nas. Sol, there's no way to describe. I think just in terms of the entire package that you brought to this game, so many things that were like the best of the best that I had seen. I think the hardest thing was the latter half of your game, where it did stumble and fall. And I think where you started off really great socially, that's where things started to kind of plummet. But seriously, like one of like the most impressive games I've seen. And this is like, just like a personal thing that I do. I never give like the One Up legend player of the seasons to a winner or a runner up, but I had to at least acknowledge, you know, Sol, I needed you to know that like your game was fantastic. Nas, on the other hand, I think Nas utilized the twist the best to his ability. Here's the thing. Nas was racking up these experience points like no other, but somehow still had this certain level of charisma and charm. And even in his freaking intro video where he's like, yeah, I won Nathan's last game, blah, 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 whatever. No one seemed to really like care. People kind of just like his social game was so strong where no one really wanted to do anything about it. And I think they just kind of like played dead to it. And eventually, like, because he played the twist to the best of his ability, was able to get as far as he got. Granted, he got sniped in the end, but his ability to just, I mean, constantly go for grind and no one seemed to really care because he was just doing all his work really well for him. Phenomenal. You know, he won one of my seasons before, and I think had, you know, he not been sniped immediately after like his immunities were over, could have probably won again. I really do think so. I think just a great overall player who utilized the twist to the best of its ability. However, there is one up legend. I think this house guest had probably the best start to finish game. I think strategy was on top of it. Socially, fantastic. Their reads on the game, always spot on. Their ability to know how to maneuver in any sort of situation, flawless. I think had they been to the end of this game, they win no matter what. I had high hopes, and I had high hopes for a lot of people, but I think this house guest I really expected to win, and I think they would have won. I think I was about to say star player. The One Up legend of the season is Will.
Wow!
I think Will played what I would consider maybe a more refined version of Souls. I think, you know, Will was doing a lot of the similar things, very on like track, but Will somehow was able to do it just right. He got like that kind of like, you know, 3 little bears, 3 little pigs, whatever that story is. I don't know, I'm 24 now. You know, like he got like just right. Where like if he were to go into the end, I think he doesn't burn as much people. He's not like, you know, pissing off the jury. He was just a very lovable presence. His social game was great. His jury management, great. Strategy, phenomenal. Such deserving for this One Up legend. I think genuinely great game. And I love doing my little diary room calls with him because I'd always kind of like pick his brain to see where he's at. And he'd always beat me to the punch and kind of like tell me like, this is what I'm at. This is what I need to do. And I'm like, that's probably what I'm thinking as well. So congrats, Will. Yay.
I will say, just to give a note also on Nas and Sol. Nas, we're talking because I'm very much a guy who looks at the voting sheet when thinking about things. Obviously, also thinking in regards what actually happened in the season. But for many people who look at the season after, they're looking on the wiki, they're looking at the voting sheet, they're trying to decipher what happened from the voting sheet and all of the sheets that we had. When you see someone like Nas that managed to stay in second place of the XP tracker for the majority of the game, that the moment Elijah goes out, up takes level 7, has that legendary HOH. The way you're like, okay, something happened there because it's not the person who had the most, it's the person who had the second most. So there's some strategy behind that. So you were HOH 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was 3 times. You won Power Veto all those 3 times. Already, when someone's looking over that, no? Am I wrong? Well, no, well, apart from also the other times when you won Power Veto when you weren't HOH, but I'm saying when you were every time you were HOH, you won Power Veto. Already that's gonna put someone like, oh, that's a player, and putting that target on your back and still making it here is like that already is something. But for me, Will, from the start of the game, every interaction that I saw Will do, be it in the one-on-ones, the alliances, in VC, in the main chat, every time I was like, this person is here to win. This person is here to play. If they get out, it will be a miracle for everybody else, because if they get to a certain breaking point and give the trophy, throw it all away, end the season. It's genuinely amazing gameplay from Soul and Nas, but Will, really amazing. I have no words.
Yes. Congratulations, Will. And that concludes the awards ceremony. This is my final thank you, my final farewell until next month. I thank you all. Thank you a million times over. It will be the longest grieving period ever for the next month or so now that this season is over. You have filled my hearts so much. You've made this such an amazing season, and I don't know if anything will ever be able to top it. Season 2, good luck. You know, it's going to be hard to top this, which is what I also say to my boyfriend about me.
So you figured it out?
What?
Did you figure it out? Just say yes or no.
Oh, shut up. Forget that conversation.
This is a very good production
winner of One Up Big Brother. Seriously, we got a lot more to do tonight. Right after this, stay tuned. Go back to the server. Our first look at season 2, One Up Big Brother season 2, Synthwave. I've been putting some time, some work, some effort into creating this season. Budget is higher, stakes higher, grand prize higher, production value higher. I'm super excited to get that going. I've had such a great time getting to do the beginning processes of planning that season. And I'm finally doing a purple season again. You know what they say about purple seasons? It's bound to be phenomenal. I love purple's my favorite color. I knew I wanted to go into this. I was like, we need another purple season. We're gonna recreate galaxies, not reheat those nachos.
We know what purple seasons can bring. You know, it brought me. So, I mean, purple season, Big Brother Galaxy.
So stay tuned, and then we have a reunion, which I will maybe be around in, which will happen in the viewing call. Everyone, thank you all so very much. This has been a phenomenal season, and I will see you July 11th for the live season premiere of One Up Big Brother Season 2.
And last, thank you very much to Nathan, our amazing host, who really worked his ass off amazingly.
Dana said we're getting drinks. We're getting fun.
Whoa, get fucking drunk.
Oh, we got paid. My boyfriend got paid.
Nathan, genuinely, everyone, please thank Nathan for everything. As Nathan said, Nathan's for me in so many ways as an org player, and right now I'm using what Nathan has taught me as an org player and as an org host in the biggest custom format org on Discord. So generally, as I always said, I'm Nathan's org child, org baby. And I'm generally so happy when I got when I got the DM that Nathan was going back into hosting, because Nathan, it's gonna sound weird, is my childhood, is generally what formed me to come right here. I'm 19. I was 13 at the time, y'all. It was genuinely, I'm so happy. So everyone, so thank you so very much, Nathan, and thank you all.
Yes. And like I said, like the org community to me that's my baby. I did this when I was a prepubescent, when I had no friends, no life, no nothing. And I was like, I love Big Brother and I want to do it. And I played since I was 13, nearing 25 here in a couple months. I've been in this community from start to now. I only came back because I saw these other orgs. I'm like, I need to bring back what I provided, give back a little bit of the old school flair. No, but I take this very, very seriously. Like this is genuinely my passion, my everything on display, and I hope that's felt, and I appreciate it very much. We got a long journey ahead of us here in this series, and I'm so glad to be back, glad to be hosting with such a great team, and this is just the beginning. And Zach, you are going to hold that legacy from now until forever. So
Thank you.
all of you, this entire cast. So thank you, and this is me signing off. One Up Big Brother Season 1, bitches!